the beat. Ooh, yes, sir. Still beat. Still beat. Straight talk. Straight talk. Oh, yeah. Straight talk. Oh, yes, sir. With DJ Hilson. Straight talk. Straight talk. Straight talk. With DJ Hilson. Straight talk, oh yeah. Straight talk, oh yeah. Straight talk, oh yeah. With DJ Hilson. Straight talk, oh yeah. Straight talk, oh yeah. With DJ Hilson. On the 3.7 the beat. Yeah. On the 3.7 the beat. Yeah. On the 3.7 the beat. Yeah. On the 3.7 the beat.
Whoa. I tell you what, I don't deserve an opening like that. That's for sure. I just, it's so much fun to see all those images, including those from the studio, and just feel very blessed. So thanks for that. And hey, Muskegon, I mean, this is, I appreciate too that PA today, this morning, basically said, hey, when we do your show, we're going to be live, which typically we are live on the radio, but then he said we're going to stream it as well. And so here we are. I can't pick my nose now because I got the video on.
You always ready for video though.
Listen, I got to get some cool shades though, like you got, because yeah, I mean, it is this is a nice added feature, so I appreciate it. So hello everybody on Facebook. Thanks for tuning in, and it looks like we got five people. That's good. 5 is good. That's better than the one listener that I get for my radio show. So we're 4 better.
That'll be more, DJ.
Yeah.
As we zoom in, as the producers zoom in, we get more.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
That's how the algorithm works.
Okay, fair. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. Well, listen, I got to start our show, and I'm so happy that I got here when I did, because I was actually so funny. As I'm driving over, I'm like, oh man, this is how I want to start the show, and I got an opportunity to actually personally congratulate the Lady Big Reds on their tremendous state championship, which was really cool to see those ladies and to give every single one of them a high five, because that's how I wanted to start the show, is to really give those girls a huge shout out. I had the opportunity. I didn't get a chance to get there live and in person, which would have been really electric, but I got a chance to watch the quarterfinal, the state quarterfinal, the state semi, and then sort of the last, I'd say, 4 minutes of the state final on Saturday morning. And I can't, I mean, and I have zero to do with the team other than I know the coach really well, and certainly know Chief really well. And so I was rooting for the ladies, but also rooting for those guys as well. And
right.
They just represented Muskegon in such class and in such it was just a cool thing to watch. And what really shocked me is that that this is the first time ever that the Lady Big Reds have won a state title.
Yeah.
First time ever. And you think
and
about
long
that
history.
Yeah. There's a huge history
Yeah.
Of Big Red Nation, and this is the first time ever, and that for the rest of history, they will go down in history.
Yeah.
And that is super exciting. And again, just to watch those girls play and their resilience, especially in the state championship game,
It's tough.
You just don't realize what a grueling long road that is, and they stood tall against it. And I'm so happy for them. So happy for the school and for our community. We should. I mean, they should throw a parade.
They should.
They should throw a parade.
And Detroit Renaissance is a very good school.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be smart to go
Yeah,
there. You
yeah.
know, it's one of those academic schools and very well respected.
Yeah.
Good talent coming out of there, and they got a wake up call. They got a
Yeah.
wake-up call.
Well, listen. I mean, and again, Muskegon's down big.
Yeah.
In the second quarter. I mean, they'd only scored 2 points.
Yeah.
And they didn't take the lead until actually I started listening, and it was like 3 minutes or so to go in the fourth quarter, and they finally took the lead.
Yeah.
Oh man, I tell you what, that was just so cool. And it was I every game from the quarters on, I sent text to Coach Loudermill and to Chief, just congratulating them, and certainly Chief's daughter, who is an absolute star on the basketball court.
Right.
And I really appreciated her. My wife even made the comment of her saying, I'm doing this for Muskegon. People are down on Muskegon, and I'm doing this for Muskegon, which I thought was awesome.
Wow.
Wise beyond her years, and it's really cool. So it was like an extra treat for me
to meet him.
Yeah.
Because
my family was joking. My wife, she's like, you should call him up and invite him to the office, just like they do the White House. You can be the
right.
I go, I think it's a little bit different. Maybe the city will do something. I'm sure the city will do something.
Right.
The commissioners
Just
will do
something. Oh, you're right, from the city side.
From the
That's
city
a
side.
celebration coming up on Sunday, but yeah, maybe the mayor can invite him down to the city.
I would. I mean,
Yeah.
I would.
You
I
have
would.
to. Because they're gonna get a sign up on the street.
For sure.
On the street.
Yes.
You gotta get a sign up on Laketon,
Yeah.
to go along with all the other accolades. And I know we're gonna get into this, but
Yeah,
Muskegon Public Schools under Keith Guy administration. Keith Guy is athletic director.
Yeah.
Have done some amazing things.
Look, I have huge respect and Keith, I consider Keith to be a good friend.
Yes.
I've known him for quite a few years now, and I agree. I mean, from certainly the football team has gotten a lot of accolades, and when Keith is coaching the boys basketball, they've made some runs, and they haven't quite they got to the finals a few years ago.
Right.
And so it's in there, it's there. But
they did go undefeated with him.
Yeah.
So you can say that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just when you have that kind of dedication and that kind of commitment, it just goes a long way. And I just have a lot of respect for all the folks over at Big Red Nation, from the administrators to the teachers. Having had an opportunity to be a part of an advisory group that's helping shape what the curriculum looks like in this new innovation that they've got going on now over there, and how they're sort of cultivating career paths at the early age of freshman year in high school.
Right.
And so being a part of that and seeing that, and it's just really exciting what they've got going on. And so, certainly from the sports side of things, this is a celebration, but from the academic side of things, Muskegon High School, the Muskegon Public Schools, I should say, they are really going in a really cool direction, and they got the right people in the right places at all levels, for sure.
Definitely do. We're live with DJ Hilson. If you're on Facebook, you got a comment, he's here. This is not recorded.
It's not AI.
It's not AI.
Because if it was AI, I'd look a lot better. I'll tell you that right now.
The mustache and beard. So
Yeah.
this a new thing now?
No. This is again. This is supporting the kids of our community. So this is my fourth year participating in the Beards for Books campaign. Kind of oversaw. It's a fundraiser overseen by the United Way, and there's a few of us that grow beards, and we seek donations on Facebook.
Okay.
That's the only social media platform that I am on. I don't mess around with anything else. No
OnlyFans.
Yeah. So starting March 1, I started growing this bad boy out, and had been soliciting, on through my Facebook friends, I should say, and just asking them to donate. I set a
Wow.
goal of this is what I want to raise, and like I said, this is I think my fourth or fifth year doing this. Again, it's helping to raise money so that children ages 0 to 5 who sign up for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, they get a free book every month.
Okay.
And what we're raising money for is just the postage.
Okay.
Dolly Parton does, she finds the authors, she pays for the publishing and the printing, and organizations, counties, raise money to help fund so that the books can get sent. And between Muskegon, Oceana, and Newaygo, I think we have well over 10,000 kids participating in this.
Wow.
So from the age of 0 to 5, if you sign up, you get a free book every month.
Okay.
And the idea is it obviously it's promoting reading and literacy. And obviously your 0-year-old isn't reading, but it's kind of fostering that parents sitting down and spending the 10-15 minutes reading a book to their kid every night. Which is something I remember doing as a parent, which some of my favorite times is, sitting down and reading just a simple board book to my kids before they went to bed at
You were
night.
better than me. I show pictures.
Well, you show pictures, tell your own story. I mean, that's more creative. I was relying on the author's words.
I was supposed to be reading, DJ.
Yeah, well, yeah. But so anyways, that's this is next Tuesday is the last day, and my wife has assured me and everybody she can tell that this thing will be gone after Tuesday.
So she don't
Yeah,
like
she doesn't like it.
Wow.
She doesn't like
When I saw it, I thought you might went deer hunting or something.
No. See, if unfortunately, the gray really is pronounced this year, and I think it ages me by about 10 years. So I got to get my youthful
I get you.
looks
Hey.
back.
Sean Aarons online said, "Hey, DJ,
Sean Aarons, one of my favorite jail deputies of all time.
definitely Aarons."
Yeah, she was awesome.
So it's been a lot. I haven't talked to you on the radio in a while, and I know Big Rob been doing the show while I've been gone. But I know there's been a string of homicides.
Mhm.
Anything that you want to talk about in regards to?
Well, I mean,
Shootings.
today I spent some time with the media today because over the last couple of days, late last week and early this week, we were able to issue criminal charges against 3 individuals involved in the Robert Fletcher homicide. And that case really came together, I'll say relatively quickly. And ultimately, again, and I, in talking to the media today, and here too, I give a lot of credit, in fact, all the credit, to law enforcement. The detectives in our major case working alongside the detective from Muskegon Heights PD, and really working from the inside, so the initial crime scene and working out. And then, working alongside some members of my office, and I've talked a couple of times during my show about the investigative subpoena process, and it's a statutory tool that allows us prosecutors to assist in investigations by calling people in under subpoena and putting them under oath as if you were in court, and having them answer questions related to the investigation, and using that as a tool to help and assist investigators. And we did that in this particular case as well. And again, we don't get to the point where we were today, where I was talking about the 3 individuals being charged without law enforcement really taking the time, going the extra mile, digging into whether it be cell phones or video, or determining, kind of backtracking and seeing where we might see individuals, or who might have seen these individuals, and talking to those people. And so again, I think a lot of times we as a community get caught up in some of the stuff that's happening on a national basis. And I'm not discrediting any of that as it relates to law enforcement, because certainly, there is, I think I've always subscribed to this idea that whether it be myself, my assistants, and law enforcement, we sort of have we have a higher standard of excellence. In other words, where some folks may get away with with things. If you're in law enforcement or you're a prosecutor, you sit a little bit higher, and there's higher expectations, and I'm okay with that. But along with that, you take a lot of the scrutiny. Well, in our case, for Muskegon County, we are extremely blessed, and people need to recognize and appreciate this, blessed with the dedicated men and women who are either putting on a uniform or putting plain clothes on and investigating cases every day. And this investigation is a prime example of why we have it really good in here as far as law enforcement is concerned, because these folks really worked hard and they were dedicated to the task at hand, and it led us to where we were today.
So it was 3 individuals?
3 individuals, yeah.
And they open murder?
Yeah, so 2 of the 3 are charged with open murder and felony firearm, and the third is charged with accessory after the fact. And so ultimately, right now, and it's at the very beginning stages, they just got arraigned. The accessory after the fact individual got arraigned last week, and then the other 2 were arraigned yesterday, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we're at the very beginning stages of this one, and obviously we'll work through the process, and we're still working on the other investigation. So I mean, people need to understand that there are a lot of balls in the air. So when major crime happens, there are only so many resources that can get spread, and so we as a community, as a law enforcement community, and the departments especially, are very good at being able to allocate the resources so that we're not back burnering any of these other investigations while we're making progress on one. We're still kind of keeping tabs on the others, and that's true as it relates to the young 15-year-old that was killed prior to Mr. Fletcher being killed. And so that case is still under investigation. We're still working that. And ultimately, I want to get to the same conclusion as holding those responsible for that particular one, along with, obviously the disappearance of Lee Longmire. That one is still under investigation as well. And so all those things are happening sort of simultaneously, where, they may stop looking a little bit because they're getting to this. We get to the end, so to speak, so we could charge, and now we'll go back and pick up where we left and move forward on these other investigations. Because, truly, even when people think that things aren't happening or that maybe information and leads are stale, we're still kind of keeping an eye and still working certain angles, and sometimes it's just waiting for information to come back. I mean, unfortunately, these investigations are not like TV, right? Where you fax in something and then you get a 50-page report in 5 minutes. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
We're at the behest of some of the companies and agencies that we're dealing with on their timetable when we can get information, and so. There's some of that as well, but again, the important thing here is, in part of the success of this current case that we were able to charge had to do with people actually coming forward and talking about what they saw and heard, telling the truth about it. And we're just looking for sort of the same spirit of cooperation, if you will, on these other open ones. And so
people coming forward.
I mean, again, I applaud certainly the town hall effort that was done. I thought that was much needed. But at least historically, there's always momentum initially, and then it sort of wanes. It dies off, right? And that momentum needs to continue and carry forward. I mean, if there's a spirit of we've had enough, then let's keep that spirit alive. Let's keep those fires burning, and that should drive you or your neighbor or people that that either if you know something, you need to talk to somebody about. You need to tell somebody about that. And certainly, even if your gut is telling you that you may or may not know something, it's okay just to kind of lay it on the table and let law enforcement, my office, let us evaluate that and make a determination. But it's when the community decides to kind of hole up and not do anything, that it makes our jobs a little bit more difficult. And that's not to say that, we haven't experienced that and can work through that, but investigations take longer than, and prosecutions take longer than if we're sort of kind of doing it on our own.
Right.
And again, from programs like Silent Observer, all those things that allow you to be anonymous, be anonymous. Be anonymous, because the information is key for us, and I'm okay with that.
What do you think changed, DJ? Because last quarter was terrible for ending 2015, 2025. First quarter's been even worse. What changed? Because there was a stretch where things had gotten better.
Yeah, I mean, we were we were doing really well, I thought, as a community as a whole, up until about November of 25, and then the wheels kind of fell off from November to the end of the year. And for me, when I turn the page every year, going from one year to the next, I always think of it as a sort of a fresh start. And boy, that fresh start didn't last very long, because we kind of picked it up a little bit. And
Right.
I don't. It's always hard to pinpoint. I will say that a lot of the activity, including the two homicides that we've been talking about, a lot of the activity leading up to that, um, and this is a bit speculative, but some based on information. But it's all related, right? It's small little pockets of individuals who don't like each other and are resolving their conflict by shooting at each other. And for whatever reason, that sort of heat, that there was a heat up, if you will, in the early part of 2026, which led to a lot of what we saw happening, including these two homicides. And so, um, I'm not exactly sure why they decided to heat up, but they did. And again, that's nothing that's hard for us to predict.
Right. Right.
Right. That's hard for us to say, well, it's going to happen in February, or it's
Right.
going to happen in May. I mean, it's hard for us to predict, but certainly that seems to be, at least if I were to, if I had to make a sort of a comment on it, which I am, that seems to be where the crux of that is. And certainly, again, you know, we in the law enforcement side of things try to be proactive. The community side of us try to be proactive as best we can. But at the end of the day, if people are gonna decide to do these kinds of things, it's hard to stop them, unless somebody gets wind of it and decides, you know what, we can't let this happen, and drops a dime, and there's a silent observer tip on, hey, so and so and what are going to be driving around, and they're going to have guns, and that's all we need to know, and then we look for that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that's why I'll say after the second homicide, I immediately had a conversation. In fact, that night, talking with the state police, and it was within a matter of 45 minutes that we had extra troopers in the area, and we had the helicopter in the air. And so that, to me, that is, I, again, it goes back to relationships and building relationships. And the folks that I get a chance to reach out to in those positions are people that I grew up with as an assistant prosecutor through the years, and have maintained and built relationships with them. And they know that when they provide that extra effort, that it's just not going in vain. That if and when things are discovered and cases are generated, we are going to reciprocate that by
Right.
making sure that we're aggressive in what we charge, and that we are fighting hard in court to not let those efforts go in vain. And so, again, I cannot stress enough to the community at large that we have across the board, across the county, including state police and the sheriff's office, we have a dedicated group of men and women in law enforcement that all they care about is making sure that when they go to work, that they're keeping that part of their community safe. And they'll do everything they can in order to make that happen. And that, to me, is comforting from a prosecutor, but also from a citizen. I mean, I live in this community. I mean, I live, work, and shop in this community. And so I want it just as safe as everybody else. And so I feel very appreciative of what I get to see kind of on a regular basis that maybe not everybody else does.
So quite a few cases. I know D.D. Sims was
Yep.
found guilty.
Yep. Yep.
That was a very kind of like a odd case where I don't know if I've ever seen anybody out on bond on murder.
I agree. I mean, it's an oddity, for sure, an oddity. And again, those are situations and decisions that I can't control. We go down on these cases for arraignment all the time. I make strong arguments as to why individuals should either because the Constitution of Michigan allows for judges to deny bond if somebody is charged with the crime of murder. There's nothing unconstitutional about denying bond,
Right.
or at a minimum setting a extremely high bond. And trust me, I got a lot of phone calls when we initially had charged and the judge had made their determination on bond. I got a lot of phone calls from a lot of people. We did everything in our power that we could in order to reemphasize the need to increase the bond and keep that individual in behind bars. And again, the judges make the call at the end of the day.
What made this case so different? And maybe some teachable moment. Was it something different about this scenario that warranted?
You have to ask the judges that. I can't. To me,
Right.
taking a human life is taking human life.
Exactly.
And the circumstances are obviously the facts and circumstances are always going to be a little bit different in every one of those cases. But taking a human life is taking a human life at the end of the day. And I don't know. I can't get inside the head and try to figure out the reasoning as to why a judge might set a relatively low bond on such a serious case. Clearly, in that trial, the defense was that this was self-defense, and we had a lot of good facts. And my assistant prosecutor, Katie Norton, did a fantastic job trying that case. And really making sure the jury understood that essentially you don't get to bring a gun to a fist fight, right? You just don't. It doesn't fly. And the facts and circumstances as it was presented didn't support this idea that Mr. Sims was afraid of his life and the only course of action he had was to pull a gun and shoot. The facts didn't support that. Obviously, the jury found the facts didn't support that.
Right.
And so ultimately, at the end, the only thing that he forfeited really is that because he wasn't in jail, he got no credit.
Okay.
Right. And so there's no when he essentially the judge remanded him after he was convicted, so he's in jail now.
Okay.
And you don't get any credit when you're on bond.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And so all those days that you could have earned as credit towards your sentence, you're not getting because you weren't there to build that credit up, if that makes sense. So, short term, did it really kind of, I'll say suck that happened? Yes. It was a decision that we didn't agree with. It was a decision we didn't advocate for, but in the end, when he's convicted and now he's remanded, he's going to serve that time anyway.
Is it the same judge
that set the bond?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
Different judge.
Yeah. I mean, the case was tried in front of Judge Smedley, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And so she will sentence. I mean, she heard that, she was the judge for the trial, and she'll be the judge at the time of sentence.
DJ, this is the timing speeding up now, because I know there was a homicide of Mr. Stewart that occurred, I think, back in the fall or winter, early in winter. That case has already been tried?
No, that case is I'm trying to think of where that one is at.
Kid that robbed and
yeah, so we got two cases going. We've got the individual that was involved that allegedly committed the crime, and then there's a second young man that we had charged that had essentially provided the weapon that led up to the homicide itself.
Okay.
And so there's two separate cases going. That the second one, so the young man that provided the gun, we just had a preliminary examination. Actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. The individual who we've charged with committing that crime, it was his preliminary examination, the young man. At that case, the young man who provided the gun we thought was going to cooperate and testify, ended up hitting the stand and lying, and was immediately arrested for perjury. And so, ultimately, that unfortunately, that young man made some poor decisions, and that's now led to a perjury in a life offense, which carries significant penalties, and will be charged and tried as an adult as a result. And so, again, I think what's really important for everybody to understand is that I don't um, have feel good feelings about charging young people as an adult. I don't, but I feel as the prosecutor and as the person who has to make sure that the community that we're sending a strong message is that these young people are making bad decisions with loaded firearms, and this is not the first in a sort of a series of young people that have made bad decisions that have resulted in both of these cases innocent people being killed. And my view of the world is that when you go to that extreme and you start making those adult type decisions, we're going to treat you like an adult.
Access to gun. How do kids get access to the gun?
That's a great. I mean, listen, if I knew the answer to that question, we could probably shut that pipeline down almost immediately. Again, there's I think there's a sort of this, I'll say, black market, if you will, of weapons that floats around because, unfortunately, in a lot of these crime scenes, we don't end up getting weapons. They get moved quickly. I mean, they're moved before even law enforcement arrives, and so for if to have a handgun or a gun of any nature in a crime scene is sort of an anomaly. I mean, it doesn't really happen all the time because again, you have the folks that are standing on the periphery, whether they're on one side or the other, and stuff gets removed.
Okay.
Right. If somebody had a gun, guns get removed and they move quickly, and they're back sort of in that pipeline. And so, our best way of shutting some of that down again is community involvement, silent observer, or we've found a lot of success in increased police presence, traffic stops that lead to people, a group of people being in cars, and an ability, a legal reason to search interiors of vehicles and finding weapons.
Right.
And we've always had great success in that. But that's like getting four aces in a poker hand. You happen to hit the right traffic stop at the right time, and you get some fruit from that. But yeah, I mean it's a struggle. It's a struggle, knowing that again there's I'll say this black market pipeline of whether it be stolen weapons or weapons that were traded for drugs, that guns become a currency in the drug trade. And so you have a lot of that going on, and then they get circulated, and again we do our best to capture as many of those as we can.
Wow. Straight Talk with DJ Hilson. We live at the Amazing Right Media Center, live on Facebook, YouTube, and also on radio. The lady who you charged with killing her adopted daughter, how's that case going?
That case, we that was just up for preliminary examination a few weeks ago. We were sort of waiting on, again, it's one of those situations where it's a situation that's out of our hands, but we were waiting on some autopsy results. And those finally came in, including some toxicology that comes along with that. And based on all that, we increased the charge to open murder as opposed to just straight manslaughter. And so, mine, if memory serves me correctly, our defendant in that case waived with that understanding that it was going to be open murder. So now she's charged with open murder up in circuit court. So it's moving along now in the pipeline.
Did the autopsy reveal some things? I saw some images online. I don't know if it was true or not. But.
Yeah, I can't really talk about it because it's a pending matter. But certainly there was enough. It helped confirm some of the suspicions that we had, because again, this is gonna, and this is where the public sort of has a misunderstanding or a misperception. I mean, we all know that the young girl died, but folks need to understand that one of the first element in a homicide case that I have to prove is that this particular defendant was the cause of death.
Cause of death.
Right. And there's a lot of reasons why that little girl could have died. And the autopsy helps us narrow down what those reasons are. And so it may sound like, Hilson, you know what the heck you're talking about. I mean, we've heard that she sat on the kid. Okay. Yeah, I understand 100%. But what we didn't know, and what we needed to make sure of is, was there some sort of underlying condition? Was there another reason why she may, outside of the human element, right? And those are things that the autopsy report helps confirm for us. And so it's a critical piece of evidence, because again, if the forensic medical examiner doesn't determine this to be a homicide,
you don't have a case.
I don't have a case. Right. I
Right.
mean, when the expert tells us, well, this isn't as a result of the actions of the person you have charged, that's a problem for us.
Wow.
That's a problem for us. And so, yeah, I mean, again, it required a little bit of patience and kind of moving through. And, ultimately, we were able to take not only what was in the written page, but my chief trial, who's going to be handling that case, actually called and talked to the medical examiner to ask some specific questions and kind of feel out where where she would be if and when called to testify, and got some questions answered to where we were comfortable in doing what we wanted to do from the beginning, which was charge this case as open murder.
So the autopsy, did it show you a deeper picture into what happened to the young girl?
Well, I mean, I think it confirmed some of the suspicions that we had, and certainly raised a few more questions. And so ultimately, I mean, I think it helped confirm for us the suspicions that we thought might be present.
Wow. We got an online question.
I saw that.
Tammy says, just a question. Have you ever thought of charging the parents of the same crime as the young people are committing if it was during curfew or supposed to be in school?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, there's been a couple of national cases, one obviously here in Michigan involving the parents in the school shooter, and just recently in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, a father was convicted of murder in relation to his son being a school shooter as well. And I guess the simple answer to the question is, certainly would we consider that? Absolutely. But I think people need to understand that the facts and circumstances have to line up just right in order for us to accomplish that. Because even though, we want to say that parents have this innate or inert responsibility for what their kids do, the reality is that we have to be able to show that in some way they had either the same intent or they were negligent in some way. And in the Georgia case, as well as in our Michigan case, one of the biggest pieces of evidence that the prosecutor had in that case was that the guns were provided by the parents to the individual who eventually was involved in those deadly altercations. And so that's a huge piece of evidence to help us say, hey, you know what, you sort of were an parent in this crime because you provided the instrumentality. In the Georgia case was even more disturbing because this kid had images and stuff in his wall, and the father wanted to claim, because he testified in his own defense, and one of the claims was, well, I didn't know, I didn't see, which is as a father, that's crazy to me, because if you're not walking into your kid's room at all, that's a problem, or if you're not really paying attention to what's going on, that's a problem. So yeah, I mean, would we ever consider that? Absolutely. But again, the facts and circumstances would have to be just right in order for us to be successful.
Wow. Tammy said, thank you.
You got it.
The other homicide on Marquette, double homicide.
Yeah. Jackson Hill. Yep.
That you charged some people on that case.
We charged that. Yep. That case, just a week ago, the preliminary examination was started, and I can't remember if that got concluded. I don't think it's been, the exam started, it got adjourned. And I can't remember why, but it's set to go back up again here. But the assistant prosecutor handling that case is really prepared and is doing an excellent job presenting that case in court. So yeah, that's again sort of in the early stages, but is proceeding through the process.
Is the defense trying to claim self-defense?
Well, I don't know that we've gotten some inkling that maybe that was going to be an avenue that was going to be explored. I don't know necessarily if at this stage of the ball game that we're seeing that sort of play out, but certainly we're aware of that as a potential defense, and preparing for that ultimate possibility. Now, I don't think that'll get presented at the preliminary examination stage again, because that is that stage of the process. You don't typically win or lose a case there, because all we have to show is probable cause. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, and that is the lowest standard on the levels of standards that we have to show. And so you're not going to necessarily win a case at preliminary examination, and as to why you probably don't show that card. But certainly we are going to be prepared if in fact that defense gets raised at trial, because I will just say there's some really good evidence that suggests otherwise.
Wow. Live with DJ Hilson. Got about 10 more minutes left, DJ. How is Trevor doing? Did he get the contract with ESPN yet? We're waiting.
Yeah,
Waiting on that announcement.
Listen, you guys will be one of the first to know. No, he's just coming off a spring break, and has been working on. I know he's put together his portfolio of stuff, both written and all the. I mean, he towards the last, maybe even this year, he has one of those little portable video camera things, and he's been. When he's done basketball games for the radio, he's done the radio, but he's also done the video. So he's got both radio and video. And so I know he's put together sort of a package that he's been working with some individuals in the industry, and is kind of setting it out. I mean, the tough part for him is, obviously it's a little bit tougher industry to get into. You have to hit it at the right time, at the right place, and obviously he's got to graduate first, because he doesn't have a degree.
He's still working.
So he's got a couple months left. So May, early part of May, he'll get his diploma, and then we'll hopefully be able to really hit the ground running, because as his mother and I have told him, his lease on his apartment runs out May 31st. So June 1, he better have a plan.
Wow, it's a lot of pressure, Trevor.
Listen, that I'm not sure that kid knows what the word pressure.
He got it.
He handles it. I think we'd like his mom and I would like him to feel a little more pressure, kind of get
You think he moving too lax with it?
Well, we were concerned.
He got rich parents.
No.
Where did he go for spring break?
He was down in Florida. One of his roommates, I think their family owns a house on, I can't remember what island it is, but it's an island on the Gulf Coast side.
Yeah, that's that private island.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of money in that island.
Look, he enjoyed sending his mother and I pictures of him sitting on the beach almost every day. They played golf, I think, 3 times down there.
Wow.
Yeah, he had his best life for sure.
Wow. Yeah, they living good down in that region.
Yeah, listen, he's got some. I mean, all his roommates are awesome. They're awesome guys. Got awesome parents. Yeah, he was treated right. That's for sure.
Okay, so we had March Madness kicked off. I don't know if you had a chance to watch any games.
Oh, listen, probably to the disappointment of my wife, although my daughter is, huge into sports, especially this time of the year. She made sure to remind me that we needed 2 TVs in our living room, and we spent Friday and Friday night, pretty much all day Saturday and all day Sunday watching college basketball. So yeah, she's
a Michigan fan.
She is not a Michigan fan.
Oh.
She is not a Michigan fan. She's not a Michigan State fan.
So who's she rooting for? Is
Well-
that Wisconsin?
No, gosh, no. That Wisconsin is the devil to her.
Okay.
Because
Wow.
she has been sort of bathed in the Marquette waters, if you will.
Okay. So they're rivals.
Heated rivals. My Trevor will not wear any red.
Oh wow.
Will not wear red at all on anything. And his sister has taken up that torch as well. They both were very proud of themselves because they picked High Point over Wisconsin in the first round. And
They did.
yes, they did.
Wow.
Only because they hateWisconsin so much it didn't matter.
Not based on the knowledge.
Nope.
hoping that they
Just
lose.
basically on hate, and they were vindicated in that,
Yeah.
which was unfortunate
Yeah.
for me because I did not go that route.
That was a big upset.
That was a big upset.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, I listen. I'm my only disappointment is I cannot stay up Thursday night to watch some of the
West Coast games.
Yeah, I mean it's 9:45, 10 o'clock.
Even in the East Coast, some of these games I think in Pennsylvania
Yeah.
was like 12 o'clock.
It's crazy.
East Coast,
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know that was possible.
Listen, I have to work on Friday, and so I can't stay up Thursday. But Friday night, I'll make up for it for sure.
Wow. Live with DJ Hilson. So who do you got winning?
So I spent probably more time ever this year in researching how I was going to do my brackets, and it's probably going to explode on me because I had Florida in the final game. I don't have Florida as my national champion, but I had Florida in the national championship game, and they got beat by Iowa by 1 point. So that part of my bracket got absolutely busted. But I have Iowa State as your national champion.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I mean, you got them beating Michigan.
I do. I think that team has the opportunity to beat Michigan.
Wow. We'll see in 2 weeks then when you come back in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
because they in the same area.
They're in the same. Listen, I mean,
Yeah.
they're on a collision course.
Woo.
I think it would be. I think it's the Elite Eight where they would meet.
They meet.
Yep.
And so to go down to the Final Four, and I got Michigan, and I'm being. This is just hoping that it's Michigan against Michigan State.
Oh,
just hoping that
Yeah.
it's Michigan State, Michigan against another Big Ten. I
Yeah.
think the Big Ten numbers are stacked up now.
listen, I tell you, watching Purdue, I mean Nebraska, all those things. It was yeah. I mean, I think the Big Ten. I have to go back and look, but I think the Big Ten has the most schools
Yeah.
left.
Yeah, I got like 6 or 7.
Yeah, which is awesome. Which is awesome.
Before we go, anything that you wanted to get out that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
No, again, I just for me, I just appreciate certainly I've always appreciated the community and its support. And I think what folks maybe don't realize and maybe I don't express enough appreciation of is just in general, people coming up and saying hi, or just that little pat on the back, or obviously if you think if I made a bad decision, tell me that too. I don't need all the kudos, but it just reinforces for me why I chose this profession and why I feel very blessed to represent Muskegon County in the capacity that I do as the prosecutor, and it really helps for me. It just sort of lights a fire. Not that I'm losing any fire, but there are days sometimes where it's just like, man, and just to have that interaction with the community is awesome. I just really appreciate it, and I just thank everybody for all that. I mean, it's just really a nice thing.
I'm glad you haven't lost that fire. And you're still young.
Listen,
Yeah.
well, the beard, don't let the beard fool you. I mean, that's why I got to shave this thing off, because when I do, everybody thinks I'm like 40.
There you go.
And that's what I want them to think.
So you're not at the retirement age. though.
No, man, I'm 54 years old.
Yeah, you got a while.
Man, I'm 54.
Okay.
I got. There's a lot of life in this chicken here. That's for sure. There's a lot of life in this chicken, for sure.
Jamari Stewart Cruz said this was a good interview. Thank you, Jamari.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, listen, I love Big Rob to death. but I'm always a little bit nervous when I'm sitting next to PA because he can fire the questions and he's really good at it. So I have to be on my A game, my A+ game. I'm on my A game with Rob, but I got to be on my A+ game.
But I did prep you that I was going
to.
You
did. We talked on the phone when you were bragging about your world travels, and then saying, yeah, well, I'm going to stick around Tuesday for your show, and I thought, okay, I can do that.
I miss days like this.
Yeah,
talking to you, but and you're good. You don't. He know what he's doing. Some people you really got to prep them, but DJ, you engage with your office, and that shows a lot. I'm not even sure if I'm engaged with this operations as much as you are with your office.
Well, listen, we'll talk off air because there are a few things that you probably should know about.
Right.
Since
exactly.
You've been away.
Exactly. I might listen online. I'm looking at other stuff, but I'm not. I should be more engaged. You're a good example of a leader. You're very engaged.
That's kind of you to say. No, listen. I appreciate that, and it goes without saying that I have to give I'm going to give all the credit to my staff. All those folks are doing the heavy lifting every day. I get the opportunity to represent the office in different capacities, but really all the heavy lifting is my staff, and I tell you, I am really blessed with some great people, from the support staff to the lawyers. There are just some really dedicated people that are coming to work every day representing this community, whether it be in the courtroom or in the public eye, with the best intentions. And, in some respects, it makes my job easy in the sense that I know that I can do things like this radio show or be a part of committees or other organizations because the work is being done and I don't have to worry about it. That is something that is a luxury that I try not to take for granted, for sure.
Is there any crime that you're seeing that's bothering you before we go to anything that you see in a tick? Well, we know the homicides.
Yeah.
Any other things that's out there that's nagging? Sex offenders. I don't know. We don't get a chance to talk about those stats.
I'd have to go back and look, but obviously we investigate a lot of different CSC stuff, and I don't know that I've seen an uptick in that necessarily. And really what has been troubling, and this has been true for probably the last couple of years, is the age group, right? It's the young people that are getting involved in more serious. I mean, you expect juveniles to do juvenile things,
right?
Shoplifting, or
right.
Maybe they're gonna find an open car door and steal some change out of the center console.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have young people committing violent crime, that's troubling to me. That's disturbing to me, that there's a comfort level that they feel in doing that. And so, working, obviously, when we react and make charging decisions, but also working with groups that are on the proactive side of things to try to get them out of that mindset that violence is the answer to conflict, and so that is certainly still a challenge.
It's troubling because those young kids are going to be adults too,
right?
Yeah,
right.
So we got to get it. Got to start with the youth.
Absolutely, 100%.
Your closing, DJ.
My closing. Well, listen again. Hey, Muskegon. I love this community. I love everything that it stands for. I want everybody to know that I fight. I will and continue to fight for this community in every facet that it takes, because there's just our whole county is full of great people doing good things, and unfortunately in my line of work I see the other side of it, and people always wonder, do you get jaded? And because I get to do things like this radio show and the other things, I know that this community, the good far outweighs the bad. And that is something that I think we all need to put in perspective, is that don't get bogged down by the news, because the news doesn't care about the good. They only want to promote the bad. And that's unfortunate. And we can't get lost in that. And for me, I always come back to the good that I'm involved in, the good that I see, and that's why it was so important for me to be here with the Lady Big Reds, because that is an example of why Muskegon is so great. because of that, because of those young ladies. They probably don't even realize what they've done to uplift this community yet. And that to me is awesome. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Etched in history.
Etched in history forever. Forever and ever. They will be etched in history, and that's something very special.
All right, well, we signed off with that song. With that song. I don't know if you had a chance to hear it.
What song? Which one?
They have a theme song.
Did they do?
Yeah, it's a theme song. Check it out, DJ.
All right, let's go.
Thank you, Miss Keegan.
Windows down, jersey still on, sweat on the neck, gold on the palm, yeah. 2, 3, 1, stand up. 2, 3, 1, stand up. Hey, we were running in the driveway, frost on the nest, not a crowd in sight. Now it's banners in the rafters, whole city riding with us tonight. Red laces, black tape on the fingers, bus lights glow on our faces. From the tip off, we were locked in. Now we're dancing through these places. Lady Red's on top, say it loud now. 2, 3, 1, stand up, that's our sound now. Hands out the window, feel that breeze. We made history, we move with ease. All day, throw your songs up. 2, 3, 1, stand up, put your pride up. From the court to the coast of the stream, we ride. Lady Red's forever, that's the winning side. Coach got tears in a hoodie, mama in the stands on FaceTime crying. Whole squad squeezed in the photo, tight eyes, big smile still shining. Remember all the early alarms, locked doors, still found us a gym. Now it's medals on the neck, hometown on our chest, every little no turn to a win. Lady Red's on top, say it loud now. 2, 3, 1, stand up, that's our sound now. Hands out the window, feel that breeze. We made history, we move, we red all day. Throw your signs up. 2, 3, 1, stand up, put your pride up. From the court to the coast of the stream, we ride. Lady Red's forever, that's the winning side.